to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for today's press conference reaction as Eddie Howe has spoken to the media ahead of the huge clash with Liverpool tomorrow night at St James's Park. It is the first of 3 live shows on the channel today. There's this one, there's the preview at 7 o'clock, and then Lady Sam and Aaron take you forward at 8 o'clock with the War Lasses show. So plenty coming up on the channel today. But if you do enjoy today's show, the first one, please do give it the thumbs up. And of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel and you like what you see. And of course, you can support the channel in the usual 2 ways. First of all is membership, which is the join button underneath myself and Billy Bob. And of course, super chats are available, which guarantees your comment to be read out on the show. Jock Barr, thank you very much for renewing your membership. He put a comment in earlier saying, oops, it's run out. And then suddenly, Jock Barr renewed his membership. So thank you very much. And of course, a big shout out to our channel sponsor, Mamaroo Records. If you're ever in Whitley Bay, please go and visit Steve right in the town centre for all your music, your vinyl, your merchandise, your sporting goods, everything like that. And of course, they do have an online shop as well, which is pinned at the top of the description. And of course, they do gift cards. Perfect time for gift cards at Christmas, of course. And if you mention that you're a TTR viewer, Steve will do you a very good deal. And of course, please subscribe to our sister channel, TTR Xtra, the home of football. Everything away from Newcastle United will be on that channel. So please get yourself subscribed to that as well. Good morning, Billy.
Good morning, and good morning to all you beautiful people out there in Viewerland. Very cold Viewerland today.
Indeed, but the sun looks like it's shining down in Cov.
It certainly is, but it's not very warm.
No, it's yeah, when the sun's out, it's extremely chilly. Now, before we go into the press conference, Billy, of course, the 3rd round of the FA Cup was drawn last night. We were going to do a live show, but there were so many other channels covering it, and thought, well, it's the 3rd round. It's we just expected to be away from home again, but fortunately this time we've got League 2 Bromley, Billy.
At home, yes.
At home, yeah.
I mean, Dion Dublin obviously didn't get the script, did he, last night? Because he drew Man United out away against Arsenal, first tie out.
Oh, devastated.
Especially it being at Old Trafford. Yeah. They weren't very happy about it, were they? Good
No,
grief.
they weren't. No, they weren't.
As if they were like getting drawn away every time they get drawn. Get out of town.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like welcome to our world, guys, because we've had this situation with regards to the FA Cup draw for quite some time now. But a great day out for Bromley, of course. League 2, they are quite new to the Football League of Bromley, so to get an away day at St James's Park is an incredible day for them. And of course, they'll be looking to try and achieve what Cambridge did a couple of years ago.
Of course they will. It's up to us to let that happen because. Cups are very few and far between. If you want to win something, then you have to be kind of in them to win them. And yeah, if we get knocked out by Bromley, I think won't be very good, will it? That'll be less, even more kind of unpredicted than the Cambridge one.
Kevin's just saying there, I'm sure we'll find a way to make it a difficult game.
Yeah.
It may be League 2 Bromley, but Wimbledon proved earlier this season that there's no really easy games, and certainly the way we're playing at the minute, there definitely is no easy games. So take it as you will, but it's a fantastic draw for Bromley, without a shadow of a doubt. And congratulations to them, of course. Andy Woodman, the manager, Billy, ex-goalkeeping coach at Newcastle.
Yeah, he was one of Mr. Ashley's acolytes, wasn't he?
Yes,
with Mr. Pardew and them. Not a fan of him at all.
He'll be relishing it though, won't he?
Of course he will. Yeah, of course he will. And his 8-year contract went out. Yeah, just about now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But he's a bit of a character, Andy Woodman. I've got to say, he's quite a character. But he takes back
he
that
did
era.
want Newcastle as well, and he's actually got it. I mean, that sometimes never happens, does it? When you sort of you're trying to get your ex-team in the cup draws, and then it never really materializes, but it did. So congratulations to Andy Woodman, and Billy, by the sound of things, wants you to take a good humping when you come up to St James's Park.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
But a long way off that. That's after Christmas, of course. Into January is the FA Cup third round. But Bromley will want to cause an upset. What's this one? Even when you got hoyed out by Sheffield Wednesday under Eddie. Yeah, we did. God, I can't, listen, that game for me was all down to the Chris Wood miss. We should have been back in that game. And of course, very, very disappointing.
Weren't great either, was he?
It was a horrible game, full stop, Billy. I mean, it was Cambridge first, and then the year after, Sheffield Wednesday. So, both teams knocked us out. But hopefully, we'll have a decent run this time. Liverpool, Accrington Stanley was a big one, Billy. I mean, it's everybody remembers that old advert. Accrington Stanley, who were they? I mean,
the funniest one for me was Man City Salford.
Yes,
Gary Neville and his mates going to the Etihad.
Yeah. Hey, the way Man City are performing at the minute, you just never bloody know, do you?
You never know.
There's so many teams on a bad run of form. But yeah, I mean, no Sunderland this time, Bill.
No. But at one point, it looked possible at one point, didn't it? When they got drawn at home.
Yeah,
I think they got. Did they get Stoke at home? I think they did.
Yeah, not a.
No, they're not on telly.
For the Mackems.
They're not on telly somehow.
No, we might be though. I mean, that's a big catch for Bromley, of course, and the TV rather like us, or rather like a big team against a lower team. Yeah, especially us, because anything can happen when Newcastle United take on the lower leagues, of course. Right now, Eddie has been speaking ahead of the game. The one thing I was really disappointed in, Billy, we were talking about this before we went live, is the fact that he wasn't asked why he didn't bring Asula on. There was a reporter mentioned that obviously they noticed Callum Wilson wasn't very happy when the substitute was made, and Eddie said that it was too early for Callum. He didn't want to risk him, but had I been there, I would have followed up with a question. So why not Will Asula? Why go? Why not put a striker on the pitch? Because Eddie admitted that we lost a bit of momentum when we lost our striker.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, does it? I mean, obviously Will Asula's way down his pecking order of players he wants to get on the pitch, because we've hardly seen him, have we? We saw him against Wimbledon. We saw him for a little cameo, and let's be honest, it was a good cameo against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup.
It was.
You think that was it? He might have got him extra minutes, but not been seen since, hardly, has he? So
yeah.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. I really don't. Asula should have come on for Isak for me. Stop messing around with the whole team just to bring one player in. It's common sense. Bring Asula on. If it don't work, you've got Wilson to come on with half an hour to go. Simple as that for me.
I mean, I don't know what it is with the journalists, but I think Eddie probably would have felt that he was going to go into that press conference and be really grilled this morning about the performance and maybe his after-match comments and where things lay with that. And he was asked, now that the dust settled on the game, and he still kind of said the same things. That there was positives to look at, but he's watched the last few minutes over and over again to try and understand what happened. Well, it's clear as day what happened. Joe Linton's not picked his man up, and the more I see that goal, Billy, I have to say, Nick Pope was very slow. I mean, you've got a guy who's wanting to be England number one, and he's got to be quick at his near post, because that's not the first time that Nick Pope's been beaten at his near post this season.
No, it's not. And people are kind of asking about his left shoulder. It would be his left shoulder, wouldn't it? So is it down to that? I just don't think so. I just think sometimes he is a bit susceptible to the near post. And goalkeepers can't be susceptible there, because that's where you look the most stupid if you do let goals in.
Yeah.
I just think Eddie Howe should have managed the game better if he'd have shored things up, brought a defender on like 99.9% of good managers do. That goal would never have been scored. We had 2 defenders sat on the bench watching them like attackers. And,
Yeah.
and Glasner made the changes to do that. He brought attacking options on. We never responded to it.
Yeah, that was
Reactive
the
management.
disappointing thing, keeping the 2 defenders on the bench when really we should have put them onto, even though we played abysmally badly.
At least one of them.
Yeah, to try and just shore it up and see the game out. Robert says BBC Newcastle admitted last night that they forgot to ask about Asula after the match. So why didn't they ask this morning?
Maybe they forgot again.
Yeah. Or they just
Maybe
just
they're
bottled
told
out.
not to ask.
Yeah. Wish Eddie would stop playing Gordon as a number 9. He's no good there, and we lose threat on the wing. Let's go with the news on Isak, Billy, because he won't be available tomorrow, and possibly not even the weekend. But it was the usual answer, Billy. We don't think it's serious. It's more of an impact injury, but he hasn't trained at all. Basically, the way he was taught, he was ruling him out with the weekend as well.
No, if he's ruling them out if it's not serious, then don't expect to see him before the new year.
Mm.
We've been down this road too many times before.
Yeah, far too many.
Tell us the truth. Tell us the truth. Oh, he hasn't trained. Does he have a chance tomorrow? Obviously not, by the way he's speaking. Just tell us the truth. If he's out for 6 weeks, he's out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But tell us it's serious or it's not serious. And if you're saying it's not serious and he's not playing for 3 months, why aren't questions being asked about it? Because it's happened time and time again.
Well, we talk about Callum Wilson, Billy, being injury prone, but I think we have to, if we're going to be at Callum Wilson for consistently getting injured, then we have to look at Isak as well, surely, because his injury record is abysmal.
Well, at least he waits until Wilson's fit for it, does it?
He does. Yeah, to be fair, yeah. He's like, right, Callum, I've had a few runs. I need a rest now, so I'm not so sure. I just think. It's so annoying. It's so annoying, and the fact that we never get straight answers. It's very much. I mean, look, if he doesn't want to tell the opposition manager that Isak is possibly going to be available, then fair enough. But I think it's a load of tosh. If he's not available, he's not available. But what I'm worried about, Billy, is the fact that he mentioned that about Callum Wilson, that it was too soon to put him on for that long. Then where do we go on tomorrow night against Liverpool? Because we were talking before the show, and I'm worried that he goes with Gordon again and puts Barnes out left this time.
I'm very worried about that because last season Anthony Gordon tore to an Alexander Arnold a new one. Should have been sent off. That could be the only area on the pitch which gives us something to go at. So Alexander Arnold against Gordon. That's what I'd be looking at, and therefore it's got to be a striker at front. But I don't think Eddie Howe will see it like that.
You know what it is? I think you're right. I'd rather see Gordon go up against Alexander Arnold because we know his defensive frailties. We saw it numerous times actually when I did the commentary against Manchester City. I think he was the player for me that looked the weak link because his defending was awful. And loads of time, especially when Doku came on, they took him off because he was all over the shop. So they took Arnold off and put Quansah on there because he was just all over the place. But nobody seemed to highlight that. I just mentioned it in commentary. I thought he was very poor defensively, and I think we've got to play Gordon in his natural position to go against it because that will strengthen us. But if Isak isn't available, he's obviously not going to go with Asula, so we can rule him out. And then he's saying that it was too early for Wilson, but we're only 4 days later.
Yeah.
How is that going to make much of a difference? I worry about it, Billy.
I do too. I mean, if he plays Gordon through the middle, I think Van Dijk will eat him up for breakfast and spit him out. Because Van Dijk isn't bothered about pace. He's not the quickest, but he just knows where to be at the right time. And Anthony Gordon's finishing isn't the greatest. He's not a natural finisher. Get him out wide left, get him going at Alexander Arnold and get him getting crosses in. That's the only way we win the game. It's the only way. Harvey Barnes doesn't have the pace to kind of get past him. He's probably a cleverer, more technical player. But I think Alexander Arnold doesn't mind that so much. I think it's the pace that hurts Alexander Arnold. And he gets lazy. So it's got to be Gordon for me at left. It's got to be. Got to be.
Yeah, Graham making a good point here, saying Isak did an interview for an overseas outlet yesterday saying he was fit for the game. Well, anybody can go back and listen to what Eddie Howe had to say, and he's pretty much ruling him out. But again, it could be mind games from Eddie. But I don't see, again, he takes that injury. Eddie said he hasn't trained at all. So even if he does start against Liverpool, he's not going to be 100% fit. And we know that when Isak's not 100% fit, he's not in the game, Billy.
No use in the ornament, is he? Might as well put a scarecrow out on the pitch.
I just Craig Hope seems to think Isak's fine, but again, I mean, this is bollocks, isn't it? I mean, some people are saying he's fit, some people are saying he's not. The manager said he hasn't trained, but I mean, fair enough. Like I said earlier, if Eddie's playing games and keeping Arne Slot guessing, but whether whether Isak starts or not, I think Liverpool will be ready for either. So it doesn't matter.
I don't think Arne Slot will give an absolute toss whether Isak plays or not. He'll be confident to keep it.
Who plays against him? Because Arne Slot will only be bothered about Liverpool. He'll not be worried about Newcastle because he'll know if Liverpool play to their strengths, they will win tomorrow. I mean, I've got no doubt they will. We're not playing well enough. But then again, the flip side of that is we tend to perform against the better teams, but we never get the look against Liverpool.
No, absolutely not.
They always come out on top for some reason.
The fact of the matter is, if we couldn't put an attacking performance on at home to West Ham, we've got no chance of doing it against Liverpool with Isak in the side or not. They're just a classic, but they're probably the best side in Europe at this precise moment in time. Anything out of this game, the point would be fantastic for us. Can I see it happening? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we'll cover that in the preview tonight, but I just think it's annoying if Eddie Howe saying, he's never trained, he's done this, he's done that. I mean, are people stupid? This is what I mean. Isak comes out and does an interview for overseas TV and says he's fit, right? The manager then this morning says, he hasn't trained. It's not looking good for tomorrow. It's possibly over the weekend as well. It makes him look a bit silly.
I agree. Yeah, there's no communication clearly, is there? Which is not good in a dressing room where you want everything out in the open. It tells me that things ain't quite right in that dressing room at this precise moment in time, which you can see from the performances anyway. Yeah.
Does Eddie think Liverpool are worried about attacking? Our attacking? They watched us too. If Eddie says he's not fit, then he definitely is fit. Well, yeah. Isak's a lightweight, a fair weather character, goes missing too much. I mean, look, you look at the way Van Dijk played at the weekend against Manchester City, and you kind of think, wow, Joe Gomez played really well as well. I mean, the way Isak's been this season, it's very hard to see them getting anything. But I mean, Virgil van Dijk, we've proved in the past, if you give him a rough time, he'll slip up once or twice. But I just think Liverpool are in a different stratosphere right now.
Isak has caused Van Dijk lots of problems before. So if he is fit, then I'm glad. I hope he is. I hope he's fit because I think he can.
But he's caused him problems when he's been on form. I wouldn't say Isak's on form, but then again, we don't play to his strengths either. So
say he's not on form, but then in the past two games where he's not really been on form, where the whole team hasn't been on form. And as for Joe Gomez, I think he's the most underrated player in England. I think he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, you're a big fan of Joe Gomez,
and he's got pace to burn as well. So it might be more difficult to get past the Van Dijk actually.
Yeah. Andy Madley, the referee, by the way. Yeah. Right. He says, Eddie said there is an excitement about the game, and to attack a game like this will be brilliant. We have to bring our strengths, and our strengths are unique to us. Now, fair enough. We do have to bring our strengths, Billy, and he says we'll have to bring them, but he said that previously, and we've looked powder puff.
Well, we have, haven't we? We have. And unless he's saving it all for this game where we go with our intensity and press them to the nth degree, I just don't see it. I think it's going to be low block and counter attack, if I'm perfectly honest.
I mean, he's talking about attacking the game. And, but again, he was asked a couple of times about, the goal scoring, and but he gave his same answer. He just said, we've been clinical in the past. He's not panicking. Because he's pretty sure that it will return and come back. I honestly think he is worried because he's given you know, when you obviously look at people's body languages in these press conferences now, when a manager has had a couple of defeats and things haven't quite gone our way, and he looked very sort of forlorn, talking about the goal scoring situation. I genuinely think that Eddie is lost with this. He doesn't understand, you know, why he's got so many good. He mentioned in the press conference this morning how good. You know, the strikers are the creative players that are in the team. So that's why he's confident that the goal scoring and the I don't know. I guess the cutthroat up front will come back, but I get the feeling as well that he's very puzzled by it all and doesn't quite understand, because he's seen them in training, probably smashing the back of the net, but. What I want to know is, he wasn't asked, as you know, when we get to that final third, Eddie, do you tell the players to pull the trigger? Should we be shooting more often? You know, these are the things that I want to know. You know, what goes through Eddie's mind when he's watching the game?
I think he's in that stage of a managerial career at a club where he's lost the plot. I think he's lost it. I do, honestly. I think he's struggling for things to happen rather than making things happen. His changes don't seem to work. He picked the right side, in my opinion, against Crystal Palace. Yet there was no attacking threat whatsoever. So something he's doing is wrong, isn't it? You know, he's got the right players in the pitch, just not playing the game right. It's got to be instructions, hasn't it? It's got to be.
Yeah, well, he did say he'd had individual meetings with a lot of the players as well, Billy.
We should have team meetings with all of them, so they all know what the job is at once.
Yeah,
individual meetings are nothing for me.
Well, I mean, look, I think you've got to be in the same room. You know, you've got to have the players in the same room, and if there's stuff to get off the chest, get it off the chest in a team environment, not on a one-on-one. You know, one-on-ones. Yes, you can talk about what that individual should have done, or during the game, but then when it comes to it, if somebody's not happy with, like for instance, Lewis Hall making time after time after time making those overlapping runs and never getting the ball. You know, I'd be asking Eddie about that. You know, Lewis Hall is putting a hell of a shift in, overlapping his winger, but he never seems to get the ball because both wingers cut inside and go backwards.
Yeah.
You know, is that a tactic, or is that something that you want to address, Eddie? Should Lewis Hall be getting the ball to cross more? But we don't ask.
We don't ask the questions. I mean, there's so many things that was wrong with Saturday's performance, and the running off the ball, which was good, and not being past him, which was awful. I mean, at least half of it is right. At least they were making the runs, but it makes it more apparent when they're not picked out. And they weren't even hard passes. It wasn't just Lewis Hall doing it. I think Joe Willett did it 3 or 4 times. It's strange. It's just the team seem to have down tools, but they don't seem to have any idea of how to get into attacking positions where they can create chances. So, I
mean, it didn't just happen on the left; it happened on the right.
It happened on the right as well. It did. Yeah.
Tonali made a couple of overlapping overlaps that he wasn't fed in. Livramento did it a couple of times, but we seem to be very adamant on, just stopping and turning back, and of course that allows the opposition then to regroup. And I feel like the pace we break with, it really does. It offers a lot of problems for the opposition when we break out quickly. And when we get to the final third, if we could only just be as quick with the final ball, I think we'd score loads of goals. I really do. But the fact that we get to that final third and then sort of take back, it ruins the momentum for me. But I'd just love to quiz Eddie Howe on it, not in a nasty way, just to say, look, a couple of things that we've noticed, Eddie, the overlapping runs from the wingers, they're not played in. Is that a tactic to maybe throw the opposition off, or should we be getting the ball out wide more and get more crosses in?
I think he needs to go back to basics. Personally, I think he needs to go back to basics. Start playing players in the right positions, and if that means playing Miggy or Jacob Murphy, so be it. So be it. Because there was much use on that right hand side as Gordon or Barnes is, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah,
so you might as well pick someone that's comfortable doing it.
Yeah, I know we've got Doug from the Dugout Football Channel. I had a chat with Doug last week. Doug, I hope you're still available to come on tonight for the preview, mate. Just 20 minutes, half an hour of your time. But I'll contact you once the show's finished. Peter Merrifield, thank you very much for your super chat. Good morning, Paul and Billy. If we lose tomorrow night, do you think Eddie Howe will be sacked? No. Billy's a bit more sort of.
If we get a tank in by 5 or 6, I think he's gone.
You really think that?
Mm-hmm.
Doug says here that it's a tough game for Liverpool at St James's. Well, if Newcastle do respond and actually show a bit of fight, it will be a tough game. But there's a lot of ifs and buts.
Do you remember the Gerrard game where Shay Given was man of the match and they still won 6 or something ridiculous?
Oh God, yeah. Michael Owen ran a mockery that day. I remember that.
Everyone all stood up to. It was after Owen had left. I think Owen might have been playing for us at that time.
Oh, because I remember a game. Do you remember when he?
Well, that was Hullit's first game, wasn't it? That was Hullit's first game.
Yeah.
But I mean, we clapped Gerrard off the pitch that day. He was that good. He was outstanding. Yeah. And Shay Given was our best player, and he let 6 in, and he was visibly distressed. Shay Given was.
Just didn't.
If we get a game like that, I think the Saudis will pull a plug. I think they can't be seen to be that kind of weak team, being manned by a Saudi team. I think he's gone.
Yeah. I agree. Doug says he's available. Yeah, no problem, mate. I'll contact you a bit later. Toon Barmy says, we cannot allow Eddie to spend in the winter window. He has done great things for us, but his time is now coming to an end. New manager next season. He needs to spend on his player choices. What I will say is, look, I love Eddie Howe. All right, I really do love the guy. I think his work ethic is fantastic. He comes across as a lovely bloke, ruthless when he, apparently behind the scenes when he needs to be. But you know what? It comes to a point where you have to put all that behind and say, thanks very much for what you've done, Eddie. You've been amazing. But we now need to go on to the next level. A lot of fans are there. A lot of fans have crossed that fence now. A lot of fans haven't. But I think, you listen to him, you see his body language. I think Eddie knows he's under pressure right now, without a shadow of a doubt. Jock, who's been a member for 21 months, thank you for your support, Jock. I think Billy is right. Eddie has run out of ideas and the players are starting to down tools. I mean, look, I'd be very disappointed if the players had started to down tools, Billy, because it's not all about the manager. It's playing for the shirt and the badge and the fans as well, isn't it?
It is. But if he keeps persisting in playing this ridiculous way of, if your striker gets injured, don't bring the striker on, then why wouldn't you think, what the bloody hell are you doing? Give us a chance. Yeah.
That's a good point.
And he almost got lucky even then, because we scored without having a bleeding shot on target. So he almost got lucky. And even then, he couldn't shore up the defence. So, he's got to go for me. He's got to go.
Can Asula not go on the right wing? He won't play him. It doesn't matter what we say. Can he play here? Can he play there? Asula did well when he came on against Chelsea. I thought he was robust. He was confident. Listen, he may not be anywhere near the standard of Isak or Callum Wilson for that matter, but the guy can rough it up. He likes getting stuck in, and Gordon will not do that. You look at Callum when he's come on the last couple of games. He's looked like his old self and roughed up the centre backs, which is what he's good at. Anthony Gordon cannot give you that. He can't give you the physicality that a striker needs. And you look down the line at all good strikers, Billy, in the past. They've all had the physicality. And, Gordon's just not that. He's not a striker.
No, he's not a natural striker. He's not even a natural finisher. I mean, if he does get in the positions, you're not guaranteed he's going to score like most, when you see Isak go through, you generally think, well, he's going to at least get this on target or score. Gordon, you're not. You think, well, he's going. It's not a striker. It's okay playing him there for 10 minutes, if you really need to. But, 20 minutes into a game, your striker gets pulled off because he's injured. You don't want Anthony Gordon playing the rest of the game there.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you've got 2 on the bench, especially, it's madness.
It is.
Complete madness.
Bill Rogers says, Billy, if the plaster has to come off, let's rip it off now and get it over with.
I agree.
Andy C83, who's been a member for 8 months. Thank you for your support, Andy. Great show, lads. Keep up the fantastic work. Watching the body language and player behaviours at Palace, I'm questioning, has Eddie lost the players? I mean, I didn't see a lot of sort of given up body language. What I did see was frustrated. Because
I had no idea. I had no idea what to do.
And that's what worries me the most, Billy, is the fact that there's a lot of frustration out on that pitch. And again, Eddie was questioned about the players' attitudes, which is why he started talking about the one-on-ones, the meetings that he's had. And to be fair, he did say it's a team game as well, and we need to put things right on the training pitch. But to be honest, it's not the training pitch it needs putting right. It's game environments that need putting right, because you can play like the old Brazil on a training pitch. It's when you come to the crunch and you play opposition. I think if Liverpool go out there tomorrow and score a couple of early goals, we will fold big style, because I don't think we've got the right attitudes anymore to go behind like we did at West Ham last season when we came back. I think those days are gone.
I agree. I totally agree. He's got. To me, Eddie Howe's got to just go back to basics. Just play simple. Play players where they need to play.
Yeah.
Don't try and be scientific with it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Looney Tunes says, you can't keep your job just because you're a nice guy. It's a results-based business. Win games. That's the only way he'll keep his job. And I agree 100% with Looney Tune on this, because, I mentioned a million times, it doesn't matter whether you're a nice guy or what you've done in the past. Football is all about the here and now. And you look at managers that have got the smaller clubs promoted to the Premier League, but they've struggled in their opening few months and been fired in their early few months of the Premier League campaign. Because once you're there, they want to stay there, and they think that sacking the manager if they've lost 2 or 3 or 4 games, whatever it may be. So it doesn't matter. And I said this last night. It doesn't matter what the players do on the pitch. It's always the manager that will be in the firing line. So the players can't. The players, you never see a player getting fired for losing 3 or 4 games. It will be the manager. And the buck stops with Eddie. So it doesn't matter what Eddie's done previously. We'll always be thankful to him whenever he does leave the club. We'll be thankful to him for saving us that season, giving us a Champions League season, unbelievable. The season we got into the Champions League was brilliant when we finished 4th. We've got a lot of good memories from Eddie. And I would love Eddie Howe to win a trophy and become a legend at this football club. But I honestly think that the time is running out. We'll see what happens tomorrow, but the games are going to come thick and fast, Billy. The
problem for me is you can blame it on the players when he's putting the players out in their right positions. When he's not, and he's panicking when we go behind, and he's changing things left, right, and centre. I'm afraid you have to put it down to the manager more than the players. Yeah. You've got to put them in the position to do their job properly. If he's not doing that, and we're not doing our job properly, down to the manager.
Fubar says the big issue isn't how being sacked, it's who we could get in to replace him that will do a better job. To be honest, Fubar, I really genuinely think there is a lot of managers out there that would love the Newcastle United job, even managers that are in positions at the minute. Remember, it's not just the managers that are that are free right now. Newcastle could go to a club where they already have where managers in place and agree compensation for that manager. It's happened millions of times in football, so it's not necessarily the unemployed managers, Billy.
I want us to go for a proven winner. Whoever that may be. I mean, I've got a couple of names in my head, but I'm not going to. Terzic is obviously one of them.
Yeah,
from Dortmund, but there's 1 or 2 others around that I think would come to Newcastle United. Proven winners, managers. There aren't many around that go everywhere they go. They bring silverware. It's not hard to decipher who I'm talking about.
There's a good point there, Billy. Liverpool said the same thing when Klopp left. And now look at them. They've gone and got Schlott, and he's doing it. I mean, he's taken Liverpool for me to the next level above what Klopp was at. I mean, we never know. If Klopp had stayed this season, they may well be in the same position. But Arne Slott's obviously a very, very good manager as well. We got a super chat in from Jonathan Camilleri. Thank you, Jonathan. The fact that we've been found out, Aroa Asula could surprise teams, give him some minutes. He doesn't like to do that, quite frankly. He just doesn't like to, Billy. He doesn't really take risks. Ronald says here, Asula will probably start against Bromley, seeing that's his level, looking at his goal scoring record so far in his young career.
He's been impressive to me whenever we've seen him. I know we haven't seen him much. He's been as, he's kind of rarely seen, but when he has been seen, he's been promising.
Now, he was asked about, is he aware of the criticism that's come his way? And he says that that's understandable. The criticism is understandable, but he says the criticism is always there, no matter what you do. And he was asked about, do you think this criticism about changing formations or tactics or things like that? And he turned around and said, look, if you think I'm sitting at home just merrily getting on with things, then you're quite wrong. He says, I do try and, play differently and tinker things around a little bit. I'm always trying new things. We're not seeing that, though, Billy, are we? We're not seeing that whatever he's trying or tinkering with the players, we don't see it on the pitch at the minute.
Because they're not happy. The players aren't happy. Again, it's down to playing them in other positions where they can flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Gordon, you can see it in his body language when he pressed out right. He's not happy there.
Mm-hmm.
He's a little more happy when he got moved inside into the centre forward position. He looked a bit more boisterous then.
Yeah.
But he wants to be on the left. So does Harvey Barnes. Again, transfer policy's got to be brought into play as well, because Warrior was signed to Harvey Barnes. We'll never know. Know. A player with that kind of quality is only ever going to be a second choice left winger.
Mm. Yeah. Davey says, remember when Sir Bobby was binned? We need someone in who will tell Dyer and Co straight. It was a travesty. I'm disappointed like most at the moment, but we've got to stick with Eddie, in my opinion.
The problem with it when Bobby Robson got sacked is they told the players at the beginning of the season, this is his last season. Yeah. When that happens, he's on it. Yeah, I felt so sorry for him. They should never have done that.
It was terrible at the end. Yeah, it was terrible at the end. Agent Tech says it's up to the fans to turn up Wednesday as well. Support be loud. I think that's what War Flags are doing. Of course, there was going to be a Keegan tribute, but that's not happening anymore because Kevin's not going to be at the game. So they've said they want to try something different and really create a monstrous atmosphere at St James's Park. But the thing is, a monstrous atmosphere before the game is fair enough. The players then have to respond to that to keep the fans in the game.
Absolutely. The players have got responsibility. For one thing's for certain, the Liverpool supporters will be loud. They'll be loud and proud from the start. They always are. So we've got to have to be at our singing most best, and the players have got to encourage that. They really have. An early tackle, hard tackle on someone, that can do it. And an early attack, a close chance or even a goal, that'll do it. But to sit back and allow Liverpool to come on to us, and I'm not sure that's the way around it, to be honest.
Kevin Keegan's not going to be there tomorrow, mate. That's been confirmed. He will not be at the game.
Is he all right?
I think so. Pete Graves announced it yesterday, very sort of in the morning yesterday, that Keegan wouldn't be at the game. And I think that coincided with War Flag's announcement as well, that they will still do the tribute to Kevin Keegan as planned, but he won't be at the game tomorrow. So they're wanting to do something else to create that atmosphere before the game, which is fair enough. Absolutely not. Dear God, no way, not a chance. Anyway, this is what he had to say about Isak, Billy. Alex took a knock to his hip. We haven't seen him in training yet, but we don't think it's a long-term injury. Dan got through the game well when he got suspended. We used that as an opportunity to look after his ankle and get himself fit. He was outstanding against Crystal Palace, and he came through the game okay. So basically, what it is that they've got injuries. Dan Burn obviously is carrying an ankle knock, but the way he played on Saturday, I'm quite happy with his performance. But
I'm not sure I want to see him play tomorrow, mind.
Dan Burn?
No, absolutely not.
No,
remember what Nunes did to him last year? Christ almighty.
Oh well, yeah. But I think he will, Billy. I think he'll go.
I think he'll play, but I don't think
he'll go with Burn and Share again. Look, we've got to somehow. We'll look at it more tonight, but we've got to look at the pace. We've got to look at how to, just stop them getting in behind. But it's easier said than done. This is bloody Liverpool, for God's sake. They've just got pace everywhere you look. Yeah. Banel says a poll on another podcast had Eddie in at 70%. Not sure how they got there. Well, it depends
was that Sunderland podcast by any chance?
Yeah, but I wonder how many votes there was in that as well. You've got to take it with a pinch of salt. If there was only 30-odd people viewing, you're not going to get a lot of votes. Ours the other day, we had 1,000 votes, and it was very much people starting to cross that border, which was probably worrying for Eddie. I don't want Jose Mourinho, says Darren, if Eddie is sacked. He's yesterday's man and no longer an elite manager. Davey says Eddie has done a marvellous job at the Toon. So did Sir Bobby. We are 4 points off a Champions League spot in 2 cups and 75 points to play for. Yeah, but it's all hypothetical. That's what I'm saying. The owners won't look at it that way. They won't look and say, oh, yeah, well, we're only, 4 or 5 points off top. They'll look and think, right, we're in the bottom half of the Premier League. That's not where we want to be. And, if results don't improve soon, then we're going to be playing catch-up. And will they take the risk of playing catch-up with Eddie? I'm not so sure they will. I think they will, changes will be afoot. And look, it's not Eddie. At the end of the day, I'll always be thankful to Eddie. Everybody will. But football it really is a harsh environment to be in at times. Eddie's going through a test now. And I thought we'd come through that test, Billy, when we won those Premier League games a few weeks ago. But, maybe it was papering over the cracks a little bit because the major problems are still there.
I just think since that international break where we went to Saudi Arabia for warm weather training, to come back to this and play doesn't make any sense to me, I've got to say. I just think we managed that international break wrong.
Yeah, maybe. Momentum was lost, though, wasn't it? I mean,
absolutely. It was a terrible time for it to come anyway. But the fact that they took us out to Saudi Arabia to watch boxing to be in sweltering weather when they're going to come back to ice cold weather. Maybe it's something scientific in it, but I just don't see it myself.
Yeah. LG says, Alan, I agree with Mitchell buying young players, but Eddie takes 12 to 18 months to bring them on. We need at least 11 to 14 players. Looney says, Eddie is not a patch on Bobby Robson. For one, look at the experience he had over Eddie. Yeah, I think comparing the two is outrageous, to be honest. When Eddie gets to the end of his career and we can maybe look back and say what Eddie achieved as to what Sir Bobby achieved, but you can't put them in the same bracket right now. There's just no way. And I think it's ludicrous to do so. Right, let's. He didn't have a lot more to say than that, Billy. I mean, he spoke about the cup draw and says it was great to see us get a home draw. It will be a great occasion, but we will look forward to that when it comes around. So he's paying no attention to it right now. There's other more pressing, important things. Now, one thing he wasn't asked about was creating the right environment for the players, Billy. And he said it's about giving players the confidence, making the environment so they can be comfortable and free. Now, that's not the environment I'm seeing right now because the players they certainly don't look comfortable and they're certainly not playing with any freedom.
No, absolutely not. And they're not going to be, are they? It's the age-old point. You've got to play them in the right positions.
And creating the confidence. I mean, what's the confidence? What's he doing to Will Asula when he sees a striker being injured? He doesn't put Callum Wilson on, and then he's still sitting there. So he's talking about confidence, but Asula must have been knocked off that he couldn't get a chance to get on the pitch on Saturday. Surely, I mean, he must have been
100%. Even put Joe Linton there. I mean, at least he has played a bit of anything, but yeah, it's just I don't get it. I just don't understand it. And his team selection tomorrow is going to be quite telling. I think we need to see a positive team selection where players are all in the right positions. If we see that, we might just have half a chance of sneaking something.
Davey says, Paul, respect to you and Billy, great lads, but Eddie stays. Look at Man City, Aston Villa at the moment, shit happens. Man City are in a very different place. Villa, they've got the Champions League as well. And quite frankly, Davey, I really don't give a damn about any other side. I really don't. I'm more bothered about Newcastle United. I'm not looking at, oh, yes, but look at Man City's run or Aston Villa's run. I don't care. Newcastle's my side. But what I will say, Davey, is, I still want Eddie to do well. I still want Eddie to turn this around.
I mean, you're not Eddie Howe, are you, as such?
No, I'm not. And I'm very much on the heading over the fence, but I'm not there yet. I still want Eddie to do well, but wanting and believing is a very, very different thing, right? But what I will say, Davey, is there is a lot of fans still 100% behind Eddie Howe, and I respect them for that, right? I don't have a problem with people who want Eddie in or Eddie out. It's their opinion, and I'll always stand by that. As long as they've got a good enough reason for backing that up. It's all right just saying, oh, Eddie out because we're being crap, but or Eddie in because of this. You've got to have a decent talking point for it. And some people don't do that. Some people just throw shit at you and say, oh, you're talking bollocks. Well, why are we talking bollocks? Why do you want Eddie in? It's a respectable conversation to have, but I'm not going to have a dig at people that want him in or out. But I still want him to. I want him to do well. But I think
you want to compare Emery at Villa now. You have to go back 12. You have to go forward 12 minutes and see if they're going to be in the same position. Because Eddie Howe was in that position this time last year, and we've not progressed from it.
Yeah. Liam says, I'm on the fence. I got splinters in my arse as the song went. I'm always picking the splinters out my arse because I tell you why. I don't want to go on to the Eddie outside. I'll be openly honest. I don't want to. I love Eddie Howe. I love the work ethic he's got. I love the guy. I love what he's done for us. But at the same time, you can't look back. You've got to look forward. And if it's not working anymore, then I know as well as anybody, and anybody who's been involved or in football or been a fan of football, you all know that managers' times do come to an end, no matter what they've done in the past. And you have to see forward from that. So, look, tomorrow's a big statement for me because I've said that I want to see us go out and play a great game of football. I want us to give Liverpool a game. And even if we lose, Billy, as long as those players come off the field knowing they've given everything and, knocked down tools, they've gone at Liverpool and kept in the game and stayed in the game, etc., come off knackered, and us fans know that they've given it all, then that's all they can do.
And if we do that, they'll deservedly get a round of applause. But then you'll be thinking, well, why didn't you do that against Palace? Why didn't you do that against West Ham?
That's always going to be the case, though, isn't it?
It is.
I think that's the main thing that Eddie's got to address.
If we don't turn up tomorrow, then we're going to get an absolute whooping blasting. It could be any score. Literally, these are the best side in Europe at the minute. No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Yeah. Well, listen, I still hope he turns it around. I really do. But I think the clock is ticking and we have to be better. But that's it for today for the press conference reaction, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your super chats and memberships. And of course, mods, thank you very much. Billy, thank you as well. Massive thank you to you guys for tuning in on this bitterly cold Tuesday afternoon. Don't forget, later on, 7 o'clock, we've got the Newcastle against Liverpool match preview. Doug from the Dugout channel will be joining us, Liverpool fan, big friend of the channel, of course. He'll be joining us to talk Liverpool. And of course, straight after us at 8 o'clock, it's the War Lashes show with Sam and Aaron as well. So a double header of live shows tonight on the Toon Review. But thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure. And again, a big thanks to our sponsor, Mamaroo Records. If you're in Whitley Bay, head into the shop, or if you can't get there, their link is pinned at the top of the description. Go and get some nice stuff for Christmas. And of course, do subscribe to our sister channel, TTR Extra. But me and Billy will see you again at 7 o'clock this evening. In the meantime, have a great day, folks. Take care.
Away the lads and lasses.
Come back and check out some